You see, this is the kind of fun that you can have with this engine. So that bottom end torque is there. You don't have to worry that you misses out. Push yourself back and you are actually literally sitting in the back seat. This is the view. It's not a tire wobble. What's up YouTube? Welcome to a new video, and today we have the Kawasaki KLX 230, the Indian edition. So this is one such interesting motorcycle that I've been riding for the past almost a week, and I have to say that I'm in so much love with smaller capacity, smaller distribution motorcycles. And you know, there are many other special things with this bike. So this is purely an off-road specific offering from Kawasaki to India. So there was a CKD edition for this bike which was costing a little higher compared to the competitors in India, and Kawasaki just dropped the bomb that they are locally manufacturing this motorcycle, and this is the locally manufactured KLX 230. So let's get this review started. So first of all, when you look at it, it just looks like a cycle with a motor. So this is a motorcycle. That's how I had to say. And any of you are getting offended with that statement, you have to do a 100-kilometer trail on your motorcycle. That's what I'll say. Because you know, when I say that this is a cycle with a motor, this has too much of potential to take it anywhere. There's a kind of practicality, or that's kind of easiness and confidence that you get. You know, it's just so beautiful to look at it. It's a proper dirt bike. The front beak, a long travel suspension, 21-inch front wheel. It's not a tubeless spoke wheels, it is a tubed spoke wheels. The disc brake actually seems a little different from the international variant, but still the braking bike is good. And you have the single cylinder air cooled engine over there, 230cc, and surprisingly there's no badging on the engine. I know why Kawasaki did that. Maybe when it comes to Indian engine, it's really confusing that why didn't Kawasaki put a badging over there. And you could see the frame over here, so it's just like a smaller bike, a smaller utility vehicle. And this is a very puny tank. This is the smallest tank that I've ever seen on a bike. It's around 7 liters. You have a little bit of plastic over here. Quality of the plastic is kind of okay, that's all. And we have a rally seat. That's a long seat. It's just for you, not for your pillion, because you sit over here when you are relaxed and when you're riding inside city. Push it over here when you're doing the trails or when you're doing the off-road riding, and when you're on the highway and you're pushing it to the limits of the bike, you can actually push back and sit. Then on this bike there is a little bit of a heat deflector or a heat shield which has been aftermarket done on this one, because the exhaust pumps a little bit of heat, and I could really feel that when we stopped the bike. And tail section also looks good. It's a beautiful bike, man. Look at it. it's a small bike, you know. Riding it feels like I need to unlearn many things, because you know, we have been learning many things, we have been riding many things, because the motorcycle is inherently stable. So this one, I'm not telling that this doesn't have any inherent stability. We will get to know each kg on our body. We will get to know each puny or the horses of our skills working on this bike, because the bike is actually very nimble. You look at that rear tire, man. It's just so small. I mean, this rear tire is actually even slimmer than many other front tire of other motorcycles, especially dirt going motorcycle. It's a proper dirt bike, and a tall bike. Actually on this one there's an auxiliary light, and obviously the pull strap when you go for off-roads, and a little raised custom made handlebar, because the owner of this bike is actually very tall. That's why he need a little more raised handlebar. And there's a bit of a top rack setup. Don't get us wrong thinking that it's for a touring setup. It's not like that. When you go out on trail riding, you need some kind of things to tie over there, to carry some food, water, and then your puncture kit and all those things. So as I said, it's a very tall bike, 890mm, but I don't really feel it, because you know, once I sit on the bike, the suspension actually compresses a little bit, and yeah, it settles. So I am tiptoeing, but still I can manage, and it's too light. Very happy to sit on something like this, and suspension feels really plush. Comparatively shorter brake lever that I can feel that. And yeah, this is actually the light switch. So we don't have much of switch over here. So even these hand guards are actually aftermarket. So the switches are like switch, high beam and the low beam indicator on the horn, and this side we have the engine start switch. That's all. And when we turn it on, it's a pretty much basic thing that you see with any other dirt bike. You have the fuel gauge, so it's already low. It's just 7 liters. Clock, speedometer, odometer, and I think there is a gear position indicator, but it's not working on this one right now. I don't know why. So trip A, trip B, odometer. That's all pretty basic things. And I don't really say that it sounds great. It just sounds like any other smaller capacity bike. it's actually a ticket for you for your off-road trails. So this definitely gonna push your limits when you go out on a trail. So let's go out on the highway and discuss a few things. Actually, I shouldn't have done the review on the highway, but you know, it's quite hard to talk when I go on trails like this. So let's talk the things on the road. I'll talk about the things which is actually happening over here. Alright, we are on the road. Basically, this is not a bike for the road. This is for this kind of terrain. You see that? Oh, it's so much fun, man. No, it's not sliding too much. It's around 18 to 19 bhp. And you know, this engine is actually sweet. I really like it. After riding bigger motorcycles, I really started loving these kind of smaller capacity bike. But to be honest, I'll tell you that don't really settle for or don't really dream of buying a smaller bike. Always dream for the biggest one. Buy it, experience it, then come back to smaller capacity motorcycles. Because people will eventually tell that there is no point in riding a big bike, man. It is true, but experience the fucking biggest one and then come back to the smaller one. You don't believe all the things that you see in the internet. Just go experience it. So yes, this smaller capacity bike actually is so much fun. You know, I'm just trying to find a little piece of land or a trail which I can take this bike to, because with this kind of a 233cc, to be exact, 18 to 19 bhp, which is mostly tuned for a low end or a bottom end performance, this is such a damn bike. And the way you can maneuver this bike is the amazing part. It's going to be rainy, but still I love this. You see, this is the kind of fun that you can have with this engine. So that bottom end torque is there. You don't have to worry that you misses out the horses when you really want it. But you know, it's just so much fun to take this. So it doesn't have too much of a road performance, to be honest, that it has only 18 horses, and the thing is, you can do a max of 120 on this one, which itself is like a big thing, but that the bike actually feels a lot of stressed. And I don't know where this road goes. Okay, honestly, I have no clue where this is going. But yeah, I was talking about the top speed, so it can go till 120, but from 80-90 onwards, very hard vibrations from the bike, on the foot peg, on the handlebar, a little bit on the seat, and the seat is also not so much comfortable, you know. So this belongs to this kind of an area, and it's not so much good to pursue this, because you know, I have no clue about this place, and heard that this place used to have some elephants. So another advantage is, you see that literally I don't have to do this thing all the time, because you know, it's just 139 kg. So I can it's a bit taller bike. That's the reason why I do like that. It comes with a tube wheel. That's the only concern, because if at all I get a puncture, I'll be a little scared to fix it. Honestly, I don't know how to do that. You see that the suspension is so great. It absorbs everything. The front suspension is too good, and braking is also good. I like it. On this kind of bike, you definitely have to use both the brake, 70% from the front and 80 from the back. What a fun, man. I was actually a little scared to take to all those places, because you know, you see all this garbage over here, and that shows that there will be ruthless animals sometimes over there on the top, mostly two-legged animals. I think I just did my complete review over there. Suspension is great, brakes are great, the way you can handle this bike is great. And now I come to the most boring part of this review, which is the road portion. So as I said, it's not too much fun to ride this bike on the road. Better be in that area, man. I mean, you can actually go alone, you get that kind of a confidence, and you hit the trails and then come back. Even if you're in the city, this engine is actually good for you, because our city roads are almost equivalent to what I did there, except the fact that you won't have a lot of vegetations on both the sides, but still you have a lot of challenges like traffic and all those things. So it's easy to maneuver. This 139 kg is too good. But you know, there is one thing, it's not so much beginner friendly. In other words, I'll say that it feels like a beginner friendly. A beginner can ride this motorcycle, but you will start unlearning many things once you get into this. You get to know that you need to have a little more techniques when you get on this one, because it's so light and you actually put yourself on the bike, then you will feel that the bike is losing the control. Because when you take a 200 plus kg motorcycle for your trail riding, basically the bike itself has a lot of torque, and the weight and the torque actually balance the whole system by itself. So the rider weight of 60 to 80 kg or even 100 kg balanced by itself on the bike. But when it comes to this one, that's not the case. You need to have more skills to manage your body weight and manage the lighter bike which is in between your balls. So it's such a thin, such an agile bike. You can do whatever things you want to do on this one, except the fact that you're not on road. The clutch feel is good. It is not so heavy clutch, you can actually feather it around. The gear shifting is also good. It's a 6-speed gearbox, by the way. Generally these kind of smaller capacity bikes comes with 5-speed gearbox, but on this one it is 6-speed. And also when we get onto this kind of a highway, my observation is beyond the 80 kilometer, yeah, obviously as I said, it has a lot of vibration, but then beyond 90 it is getting affected by the crosswinds, and beyond 100 you will start finding this kind of a vibration, because it's a dual purpose tire. So you have to sit on the bike just like you are doing a Dakar rally. You just push yourself back and you are actually literally sitting in the back seat. This is the view. It's not a tire wobble, by the way. It's not completely that it's called the death wobble. It actually wobbled a bit. You see, no, it's not doing that. But it's because the off-road tire behaves like that on the road. Even if you take a KTM 690 Enduro R and put a fully off-road centric rubber and you ride it, you will see that it will go like this. It's not a great highway bike, it's a great off-road bike. And this comes on road for 2.3 lakhs, which is hell value for money if you are considering this bike just for your city use and your off-road use. But when it's highway, you can actually consider buying an X-Pulse. So if you ask me what all the competitions you have, I'll say that the first competition is the international variant of this bike, which comes for around 4 plus lakh. That is also good. You get a better equipment than this. On this one I feel so bad that Kawasaki didn't put their emblem on the engine. Why the hell, man? Why the hell they removed it? Are you sure that Kawasaki is making it Kawasaki, or CF Moto is helping you out? I'm just kidding, okay? I know that Kawasaki gonna have an ego problem with that statement, but still I'm casually asking. Like, I know that Kawasaki only makes it, but just put an emblem. Just put your own emblem. I'm not asking to put somebody else's emblem on your ass. Alright, so then comes the X-Pulse Rally and the X-Pulse 210. So compared to the X-Pulse Rally, this thing is hell capable, because you think that you want to do a rally, 100%. Great bike, great torque, great weight distribution. You can do a lot of things better than that bike. When it comes to the X-Pulse 210, X-Pulse 210 is a jack of all trades. You can ride inside city, you can go out on the highway, you can do off-roads. It has a bigger tank, it has a comfortable seat, but this is not like this will restrict you to smaller, faster, dangerous fun. But the X-Pulse will make you happy everywhere, wherever you go. So that's the kind. And the service interval is once in 5,000 kilometers, and a general service bill is 2,000 to 3,000 rupees, and sometimes it can go up to 5,000 rupees, which is not really in the price bracket of this motorcycle at all. Because when you buy a 200cc motorcycle, you might think that you can do your service once under 1,000 rupees, which is not the case with Kawasaki's, because it's a little costly. And also I need to tell one thing, that since this bike is actually opening up to a very big crowd, you need to understand the importance of doing the run-in on the bike. Imagine yourself, you are riding a Kawasaki, that I know, but you're not riding a Ninja 1000, just like you start your red line from the 0th kilometer. You have to do a proper run-in, and without doing that, if you open the throttle and then maybe in 2,000 kilometers or 5,000 kilometers, if you are having an oil leak or any kind of piston issues, I will say that it is your fault. Congratulations, you damaged a Japanese engine with your skills. So any bike, in that matter, you take the X-Pulse or any of the TVS bike or any of the Bajaj bikes, you have to do a run-in. If it's a smaller capacity motorcycle, you have to do a proper running before you use it completely, before you open the throttle. So then you will have an expensive bill when you have this kind of trouble with the bike. Of course, it's a Kawasaki, it's going to cost a lot. And fuel efficiency wise, it gives a biggest mileage of 40 km per liter if you are riding in 60 km per hour, which I believe that some of you will be able to do it because it's so much boring to ride on the highway. So yeah, let's stick to 60 or 80. And if we are off-roading, then I would say that you might get something around 25 km per liter, which is very good in my opinion, which is good considering the power and torque this has on the off-roads. Like having that 19 horses completely for your disposal technical place is very good with this kind of a chassis. So that's all about the ownership. So if you ask me if I found any difficulty with the bike or any cons with the bike, I'll say that yes, of course there are a little bit of vibration issue, and I see a little bit of quality issue, especially since I've seen a lot of Kawasaki bikes in the past, be it Versus or Ninja. I've seen a lot of things. So when it comes to Indian manufacturing, I see that a little bit of plastic quality issues and welding issues, exposed welding. You don't really feel that it is made from a Kawasaki, but still the point is it is technically stable. I could feel that. There's no doubt about it. The KLX platform has been there for a decade or more than that. So technically there is no doubt on the fact that this will work or not. Definitely it will, no doubt. But the manufacturing is done in India, and I could see a little bit of compromises here and there, that's all. And the headlight performance is not so good. Again, I will not complain because no bikes actually comes with a good headlight nowadays, except the fact that TVS only does a good job on the headlight, but otherwise headlight is like pretty much bad here. So you need a auxiliary light, that's all. And the foot peg, I really say that the foot peg could have been a little longer. I don't know why Kawasaki would have done a cost cutting on that. And we have hundreds of options to go out and pick a different aftermarket foot peg, which has spikes, which has pizzas, whatever you want. So that's my complete take on the bike. So I would say it's not an all-rounder motorcycle, it's not a jack of all trades, but it's a master of city riding and off-road, because these two things are very much closely related to any Indian, considering the fact that not all the roads are like this. We have a lot of bad roads, and bad roads means you need more skills. When you need more skills, you ride something like this. And when you have to deliberately go for off-roads on your weekend, a brilliant one, just that you don't have an adjustable suspension to play around with your body weight, I would say that you don't really need at this price point. It is really good. So I'm so much happy that I got an experience on this bike, man, because if I would have missed riding this bike, it would have been a really big miss for me in this year. That's what, because I'm gonna make the best motorcycle that I've ever ridden in 2025, and I really wanted to include this bike in the video, and I'm not wrong about it. So definitely see you in that video. So I hope this video is helpful for you, and as always, show some love in the form of likes and comments. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye. There's no gear downing and all sort of bullshit, because if I do 3-step down, then I'll be half the way of the legal speed, and I don't want to risk myself in the situation. So see you in the next video. Bye. Love you all.